Hello and welcome to the Bonfire Career Professionals Call. What we do here each month, one time a month, is that we direct our time, attention, and needs of conversation toward those people that are up-leveling themselves in their current career, maybe wanting to be a stronger leader, maybe wanting to move from a managerial role or a staff role into leadership and wanting some strategies there. And also those people that have come to the bonfire saying, I am in appreciation of my job. However, I want to move to another place. I want to get to a new industry. I want to take a leap. Maybe you're wanting to summon that courage because you know that where you are is painful, but you haven't had that support to make the shift by yourself. And so here at the bonfire, what we do is we give you strategies, we give you tools, we listen, we give you support and a big old virtual hug, and we answer your questions and set you on your way. So we do this once a month, the Bonfire Career Professionals Call. Also, we'll have CEOs on here that own their own business or they are entrepreneurial. And the reason why you'd want to be here if you are that entrepreneurial mind is because you want to use these strategies to up-level your team. You want to build a strong culture and do it right the first time, right? And so welcome. Thank you. Hello, Hashim. Hello, TJ. Thank you, Allison, for being here. And Coach Kara is with us. This particular time, we have gone off schedule. Typically, we're from noon to 1 Central on the second Thursday of the month. And this time we had to do a little bit of a move because we had somebody that we just recorded for the Light Your Life podcast. And so you're actually seeing my podcast setup because I went from one thing to the next. And so also, if there's anybody that you would love to have us interview on the podcast, be it an author that you've fallen in love with, that you love their content, maybe it's an influencer or somebody in leadership that you're saying, hey, could you go get this person and interview them? And while you have them in your audience, maybe you can ask them these questions. If there's anybody like that for yourself, just slip us a note. Let us know. Ryan is my producer and he will go get them on the show. And he's really great at that. So we can avail those people to you as well through the podcast. It's a very easy thing to do. So today, what I want us to do is to start with whatever wins you have going on. If there's anything that you've said, hey, I made a breakthrough, I'm learning this about myself, I learned this about, maybe you went on an interview and you realized that Amazon's not the company you want to work for. Maybe you had a job offer that came in, you're like, awesome, I rock this. And we get to celebrate you. We get to learn from your experience. So we give you the mic for a few minutes just so we can connect in that way. And so who has any wins, aha moments, strategies you've learned, or things that you've put into play that has helped you in your life or your business or career? Who would love to just raise your hand? The way we raise hand is down there at the bottom of your screen here on Zoom. There is something called reactions, and you see the little happy face with a plus. What you would do is click on reactions, and the very bottom thing there in that says raise hand, and you'd raise your hand, and then I pick on you, not pick on you, but pick you, and then we'll share. So who would love to raise your hand and share? Kara, Coach Kara, come on in.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, yesterday was an amazing day for me. I started the day with an adjustment and the roller machine.
Yay.
And availed myself of a trip to Galveston to spend the day with Coach Michelle and her husband.
Yay.
And it didn't get home till late last night. But what it did was, I've been doing a lot of soul searching about where I really belong. And I know that Houston and our energies don't match. And this just solidified that is not Galveston, but the beach. You look out at the vastness of the ocean and everything that is available. And it was one of those experiences last night as the sun was going down, just to say, yeah, this is what I need to continue to manifest, and I'm on the right path.
There you go. And I know you're from San Diego. And so whenever, and I've known this about you, that the water is part of your elemental yes. Makeup. So I agree. Let's get Coach Kara to the water.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Thanks for recognizing that in yourself and putting that even more in your manifestation. Cool. Who else has a win, breakthrough, understanding, strategy you'd love to share, book that you're reading, something that's going on? Who would love to share? Simply raise your hand, unmute your mic, and let's talk. That's okay if you don't, because we're going to hop into some content today. So wanted to give a little bit of a lay of the land of what we're seeing through the Bonfire Coaching Program on the career side. Is that we're coming out of the summer. There was a lot of decision makers that were taking time off. They were with their family. And even though jobs were open in May and even early June, it seemed as though those job openings and those interview cycles may have started, but they just sort of fizzled. And there was a lot of ghosting or no content back, like nothing. And so what we started seeing in the last week, literally, is the people that were interviewing or they were in that process are now getting touch points back with the people that had said, hey, have your resume interested, and those conversations are starting up again. Just want to let you know. So if you did any job applications, if you had any preliminary interviews and then nothing happened, we definitely give you the suggestion to go and mail them through LinkedIn, go send emails, do something, reach out to them. Don't feel like you're being a pest right now, just simply with some type of a graceful communication like, hey, I hope you had a great summer. I know things are getting ramped up again. How are those job openings that we were looking at together? Would love to have another conversation. This is my availability. Give them 2 to 3 time frames, days of a week that you're available, and then say what would work for you. But take that step for yourself. Do not, stand in waiting or wait over here whenever they contact us. Be that person that is going to take that resourceful first next step, right? Do that for yourself. The other things that we're seeing is that, yes, there are tons of jobs opening. I mean, it was crazy. I just looked at a couple of the professions that we're working with right now, some HPC, high performance computing. There's some opening for people that are into the analytics, Google Analytics and the analytics of data evaluation, which is a huge industry right now. And those jobs are just amazing. There's like 5 or 6 that just came on board last night. So if you haven't yet inside your LinkedIn profile turned on job alerts, whatever you're looking for, wherever you're looking for it, and I'd have you expand your search, because sometimes we say, where do you want to be? Do you want to stay in the Houston area? Do you want to stay in Texas? Do you want to stay in the US? Wherever that is, just expand your search. I was looking for my home about, how long have I been in the house? We've been in the house about 8 years. And we were looking at a price for the house. We were looking at $300K for the house. And what we did after exhausting all the available homes there is that we bumped it up to 350. No, I think we were looking at 350 and we bumped it up to 400. We bumped it up. And what ended up happening there is our house became part of the search. I was like, oh, we haven't seen that one. We looked at it, and what happened is we bought the house. So whenever we're looking at a particular search and we think that this is what I want, feel free to expand that search a bit and see what else is available. Magic can happen whenever we expand outside of our own belief system and what we think we want to something that can be even better than we ever thought of, right? So I wanted to also turn this over to our coaches. We've got Coach Hannah here. Hi, Coach Hannah. And we have Coach Kara and Coach Mary's joining us. And so any insights there are things that you're seeing from the coaching table with career coaching and the leadership development, because we also build leaders here. So we have people that are coming in, they love their job, they love their profession. However, they want to become better. And I know some of you are here for that as well. Anything that you'd like to provide insight on Coach Hannah or Coach Kara?
I've actually had 2 clients in this week reach out to me with killer interviews. One heard back right away that they received it, and the other one is pretty confident that it's going to be a job that they take. So I just, I do see things starting to open up, and we're making a lot of progress with our career coaching clients for sure.
That's awesome. And even people that are hiring. So I know we have some leaders here of organizations. Hello, Chris. Thanks for joining. And you're hiring. The other thing that I know is we did, what was it, 2.5 months ago, we, at least in Texas, closed up the unemployment handouts. And so there are people literally that are reaching out and saying, my money's drying up. I need to get to work. And so what we're learning is that people that are resources are becoming even more available. So keep the hard work up, reaching out there and finding your rock stars. And if you want to work with your coaches here to understand how to hire effectively and really weed through the people that you don't want to waste time on, we're here to help you with that as well. And hello, Alejandra. Thank you for joining us. And so, Kara, any insights on the job market, on the leadership market, insights that you're seeing also from the coaching table?
Well, I kind of want to reiterate what Hannah was saying. I have a client right now who has expanded her LinkedIn search as far as jobs go, and immediately got an invite to interview. And the interview went so well, they didn't even say, well, I'll let you know. They're like, how does next Tuesday at this time sound for your next interview? So they are out there. And when you go into these things energy rich, and that's part of what's changed as well, is not only her search is energy rich and she's going into these energy rich, things are starting to happen.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. We're also seeing that salaries have been majorly increased. And so often we'll be in a place where our salaries are what we believe the standard is out there in the market. And I do not believe that the industry standards and what's been published on Career Builder and other resources like JobScan have caught up to what is actually being negotiated at the offer table. And so the reason being is we are short really great resources. So we only attract rock stars here. So you are an amazing resource, and who you are in the world is going to be absolutely valued. We ask that you work with your coach and subdue that sabotaging mind that will think, well, this is good enough and this is all I should ask for because I don't want to burn a bridge. That's a lower level conversation. We don't go there. There are, like Kara said, this energy rich is understanding your value, understanding that you are a rock star. You're bringing a ton to the table. And more than that, everybody that we attract here at Bonfire, you are those people that are not going to stop developing yourself. You're growing, you're becoming better. You're our future leaders, and we need you top of your game and feeling like you are being valued in your compensation. So some people get offer letters, and we always say, do not accept the offer letter until you talk to your coach, because we want to negotiate that. We want to see where is some additional. I mean, would you like leaving $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the table in a starting salary that you're going to just move up from? Would you like to just give that back to your employer and they still get you for less money? I don't think so. So the job salaries, offers, the bonuses, the signing bonuses, even the bonus structure and benefits are being amplified now across the board in all industries. We're seeing it in the news whenever they talk about restaurant industries, hospitality, things of that nature. Well, that's trickling all the way up to everyone, because great resources, they're willing and they know they need to pay for you to, one, get you out of a job that you're already in, right? Entice you out, or secure you, because they realize that there's a lot of jobs on the market vying for your attention and want you as well. And so please, please, please work with your coach on that. So I want to toss it out to you guys. This is your call. This is your time. What you get is new perspectives here on how to be with a challenge that you're having. Either you're a leader and you're leading a team in an organization, and maybe you have some challenges right now with either staffing or staff members, or even your own mindset coming up against some problems in your own career, or you are at a place where you are in that job hunt or wanting to be in that job hunt and go from the interview to hire process and just wanting to know some new strategies and next steps. So we're going to toss this over to you. And this is where you're going to think, I'd like to use this time. You've got amazing coaches here and amazing support in this network. Everything here is confidential. So do not worry about that. Find the courage, ask the questions. Let's rock and roll together. Who would love to share? Simply raise your hand, unmute your mic. I'm freezing over here in this thing. They put my new furniture together and I can't wait to go see it because they're finished, but I was recording podcasts in the cold room over here. Chris, how's it going with your staffing? What job openings do you have? Let's talk about your job openings and what you're looking for as the president of Coursera Digital.
Sure. Yeah, I was actually going to ask a question. So as you know, I've been getting through the book Clockwork, which has been a good book.
Good job.
and we're hiring for a social media manager at the moment. And one of the things, tried a few of the different job sites out there, admittedly LinkedIn, not one of them. And, we just get a pile of resumes to go through. And there's a couple of challenges I think that we have. And one is getting applicants that apply from all over the country, even though the listing clearly states, that you've got to live in the Houston area, which means that they, didn't read the requirements, which is good because it's easy to just kind of dismiss that. But just looking for some advice on how to get through, the piles and piles of resumes down to just kind of that 1 or 2% of people that you actually want to engage with. And you and I have had discussions around, once you get through that point, some strategies around that, which have been hugely helpful. But I guess at the very beginning, tips and strategies for just combing through and kind of finding that needle in a haystack.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. So what we do here and suggest is that you make that barrier to entry of the application high so that those people that are resourceful and determined will pass through that, such as front-end assessments that they have to go take before or during their application process. And they have to submit those results to you in addition to their application resume and a cover letter. We always request a cover letter because people who are not able to write a professional cover letter need not apply, right? And so those types of things, and that it has to be in a certain time frame that it has to get here. Any applications that are received after a certain time will not be considered. So it gives the, they have to jump through your fiery hoops, make them, because it's what our jobs will be. The career isn't, based on what they need. It's based on what you need as the employer, and then ultimately what the customers need. And you are in an industry that is very time-based and very deadline-based. And so we want to be able to attract those people that can work with deadlines, can work with time and specifics. So I would say build in assessments, give them the links, tell them they have to do this. They have to submit a resume, a cover letter, and references. We always say you have to submit references. And I also put in that requirement that your references have to be people that you have worked with or work for or can speak to your work ethic directly. And that usually weeds out a ton of people, because if I do not get a cover letter, if I do not get those assessments back, I simply don't look at them, right?
Yeah, that's good. So two, I guess, follow-up questions to that. I guess one is automation, right? Automating that. So, email, resume or whatever to hr@mycompany.com, can automate some of those responses, invite them into some sort of process that only basically notifies or bothers you once they've gone through at least, some degree of that process.
Right.
And then I guess the other component to that is just knowing that the job market is so on fire. I mean, everyone's kind of in the same boat, but do people that are applying kind of have that mentality where I don't necessarily need to put much effort in, because if you don't hire me, I don't care, the next company will,
Right.
like that kind of mentality?
It's an applicant's market, as they say, right? I'd say hold out for what you want. So I'm sure before you met your wife, you were dating, right? It's a large flood of people out there, right? And yes, we could date tons of people, but we got to hold out for what we want. So as an employer, stay true to what you want and what you need, because it's going to determine the culture and the future work efforts of your company and departments. More than that, it's going to be what your customers see of you. And so we hire slow, fire fast. So stay the course. They're out there, and it's worth it in the end. Hannah or Kara, any insights on that hiring process for Chris as well?
The only insight that I want to probably reiterate, because I think we've talked about it, is that, hiring incorrectly causes more pain, more stress, loses money. So you want to make sure, like TinaMarie said, that you're hiring and you're going through that process very thoroughly, right? That you're sure that this person fits. And we do kind of the opposite on a career coaching, or when we're coaching for careers, we have people come up with a 3-part list, which is, what I must have, what I would love to have, and then what are the deal breakers. And I would encourage you, Chris, if you haven't for these positions, come up with this list of what is it that I must have in an employee. And these are values that maybe the company has, things that you value in people that you want to work with, but come up with an ideal list of what are the characteristics that this person has, what would I love for this person to have, and that could be extra certifications or the ability to commute, whatever it is. And then the deal breakers. What is it that I am not going to hire? And typically we know the deal breakers because we've been through an experience that we've had pain. And so we know I'm not dealing with this anymore. And that goes on the deal breaker list. So just having that parameter, and I call it a filter, where it's, the people will need to filter through multiple parts to get to you to make that hire. And then when you make that hire, then you're confident that you've gone through all the details that you'll want. And it helps you to ensure that you're hiring the right people. So then you don't have to fire quickly.
Yes. And I'm going to put the 3-part list here in our chat. So if you don't have it easily, I'm thinking I'm doing this. Am I doing this? Yes, there it is. I did it well. Look at myself. Cool. And so Hannah's got a great piece of advice there, is to use this 3-part list as the hiring manager. What am I looking for? What would be nice? And then what are my deal breakers as soon as I recognize that, because we do not need to settle, and we do not need to become something we're not because of a candidate, right? Then the other thing here is let's ask. So you have the social media manager. What does that entail, and who do you know that you're looking for? So the people that are here are also listening, and they know people, or they may be the person. So what are you looking for, Chris?
Sure. So we're looking for someone who is a good writer, someone who enjoys spending time on social media, primarily Facebook and Instagram, and can juggle, 20 to 30 different profiles at any given point. Of course, using a tool, recently engaged with Sprout Social, so that's what we're using. So it makes the management of those profiles much easier. And so, yeah, I would just say someone that enjoys spending time online and engaging on social media and helping to grow those channels and grow those followers and grow that engagement for our clients.
Awesome. So everyone here, if you know of people like that would be interested in that. Do you have that job description, Chris, that you could, can I allow you? I think you can drop a file in if you want to put that job description up in our chat. Then you never know where the magical person may come from.
I have a link to Indeed. Would that work, or would it?
Yeah, you can drop that in drop the link into Indeed. Yeah.
I will pull that up.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Did we answer your question? Did we help you out?
You did. I had maybe one follow-up question to that. It's something that I think we've struggled with a little bit. Our culture tends to be, I don't know if old school is the right example, but almost like working in the coal mines to a degree, where you work as hard as it takes to kind of get the job done and service the client. And, it seems like a lot of job seekers now are looking for something a little different than that. So how do you determine and make those decisions about when to change your company culture to kind of cater towards the market versus kind of stand your ground, say this is who we are and this is how it's going to be? And how do you kind of navigate those waters?
Perfect. So I'm going to ask you a question as the president of Coursera. What do you want to build? What culture do you want to build? Because you said old school, and whenever I hear the word old school, I don't think it's the good school. I think it's like painful in the past. So unless you're talking about the 80s and sometimes disco, I think that's all good. But what do you want to build? This is your vision and your ownership. What are you building?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think sometimes when you're the Apple and the Teslas of the world, you can attract talent just because they want to work for that company. And in some instances, I think you can take advantage of your staff in exchange for just, being able to work for those types of companies. But I think for us, it's definitely big selling point for us used to be that it was a remote job. Now that's not as big of a selling point for us, but I think just people that have a lot of passion and inspiration in the work that they're doing, and then bringing new and fresh ideas to the company, particularly in areas that we might fall short. Like I think there's a lot of areas of opportunity for us and social media as an example. And so finding someone that really wants to come in, take ownership, and is really able to do their job with very little, because we're a small group, obviously, with very little guidance and direction. So I think
So
those
self-accountable, self-direction.
Yeah.
Awesome. And to answer, I'd like to hear your answer of your own question about what I inferred was that old school equals put in, burn the candle at both ends, put in, burn the midnight oil, as they say, to get the job done no matter what, versus what I also inferred was that some of the people that you're also interviewing want to have a greater work-life balance with some healthy boundaries on that time so that the customers aren't taking all of their time, and that it's not a norm. It's an exception to the rule. So where do you want to be in the blend of that for yourself and then also for the company?
And I think we're generally okay with our expectations in terms of, when people are working remote, it's obviously can be a little difficult to always know, what they're doing. Myself personally, I don't want to micromanage as long as things are done within a given timeline and they're done of a high quality and minimizes a lot of the back and forth. I think that's a stellar employee, someone that whatever their defined hours are, if it's 6 to 3, 9 to 4, 10 to 6, whatever, those are consistent. And during those hours, you're on it, you're working, you're available. So consistency, I think, is key. And then just getting the work done. And I'm all for a Monday to Friday, even given an occasional half day off on a Friday. We take a pretty long break during Christmas, shut down for, about 2 weeks every year in December. So it's really kind of work hard, play hard. And occasionally, I think we're at a pretty good place where we don't demand very many late nights or long hours out of our staff. But, on the offshoot every 6 months, you've got a 1 or 2 week period that's a little rough, that demands a little more hours, someone that's willing to
Go
do
the
that.
extra mile. Yeah, go the extra mile without necessarily being coerced to do it, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So your question was, how do you attract these types of people? It comes from the vision and the messaging that leadership provides to its staff. So I would suggest to really sit with yourself and put this into a statement. Have you ever looked up Quest Nutrition as a company? I would look up Quest Nutrition. And they make the Quest bars. We've probably seen Quest bars in different retail outlets. And what I love about Quest Nutrition is that they have 21 promises that they give themselves as leaders, they give their employees, and they give the world, their customers. And what they stand by is who they are and what they are. And whenever they can sell, because you're always selling a company to your employees, whenever they can stand on a vision that has a high energy richness to it, you're going to attract in the people that want to be part of that movement. Every company has a movement that it's creating. It's not just trading goods and services to and from a marketplace. It's literally creating a movement. And, your customer being proud that they chose you, proud that they can refer you, proud that you are the people supporting them. And that energy is what goes into the hiring process. So, Hannah or Kara, any addition there on what it feels like to hire these stellar rock stars and what Chris could do to help attract those people in and not have to feel like, we're doing a bait and switch, or, like we're doing all the sales side of it. They need to also be attracted, saying, I want to be part of this.
I think the biggest thing that was hit on was the 3-part list, but I would also say, kind of piggybacking more on that energy level, it's also about the energy that you have when you are creating whatever it is that you want to attract. So when you sit with yourself, Chris, and you think about, what you've said and how you're going to verbalize it to bring these people in, I think that energy richness has to be there as well as when you put it out there. And you had made a comment about, well, it's an applicant's market because you don't hire me, the next one will. When you maintain a level of that, I guess, energy or that manifestation of what you want to bring in, those people aren't going to matter. Those will fall by the wayside. The ones who really want the job will pass this higher barrier of what you said. But it's almost one of those things where you have to put the time into it up front to get what you really, really want.
Yeah. Define it and stand behind it, right? Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, is that we can define things and it's all this like sexy, romantic, yay, we're creating a company vision and mission and promises. It's awesome. We can do that. Yet whenever we get into the day-to-day minutia on our own hamster wheels of leading the projects, leading the people, making things happen, we can easily, and I know this for myself, we can forget the vision. We can lose touch with that greater energy. We can lose touch with, why are we doing this? And as leaders, we must stay in contact with that big why. We must stay in contact with the energy of what we've created and are creating all the time. And I know that that will attract people in. And whenever they hear your vision, your mission, your way of being and what you're building, then they're going to want to be part of it. They want to get on the bandwagon. They're like, let's do this. And I can speak from experience. Whenever I built Bonfire, and Hannah, let's talk about that. Whenever I built Bonfire, what was it like to be part of a movement? And even Kara, she's got a tattoo of Bonfire on her skin. Whenever you can get the tattoo, you and Harley Davidson, like right up here, right? So Hannah, what was it like to hear the vision, the mission, and the energy of Bonfire?
So when we're in the face of or in the presence of great vision, it's easy to buy in. So it felt easy, it felt effortless, because it was so in line with who I am and what I want, right? With my values, with where I think I'm going. And, and it wasn't that, even at the beginning, I knew that these tools and what you were teaching was going to be valuable for me. So Chris, in your instance, right, creating that vision and having this belief in what you have to offer, right? Because essentially that's what you're talking about. It's your offering. You have to have your own fire, because that's the attractive piece, right? Your passion becomes the attractant for those who are in line with what you're selling, essentially. And I mean, we can call it selling, we can call it pitching, we can call it anything, but it's the vision that you have and your passion for it that will attract the people that you want to be there, and detract those who don't. I mean, there's plenty of people who've come to Bonfire thinking, oh, I want to be a coach. And they don't necessarily, they're not in alignment with how we coach, right? With the way that we engage people. And that's fine. Because I would rather say, let's be really clear and pure on our vision, like you're going to be, right? And throw that out there. So then you attract the right people.
Mm-hmm. And they won't leave because they're on fire and you're in alignment of core values, vision, and the company becomes part of their pathway. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, because then we get to go through the hardships together, because there'll be difficult clients and things that didn't go well, but we're a team, and that's the definition of a team. Let's go through all of it together. It doesn't need to be roses and, free beer in the break room all the time. It's what is, let's grow together. And the only growth that humans do is whenever we're up against a wall and not knowing, and when we surmount those odds together, right?
Can I give an example, Tina-Marie?
Yes.
So we had a coaching client, and again, right, as our program, we encourage clients to understand, it's called the top 10 list, but we have them identify what are the companies they want to work for and why. And that why is very important, because it will help them determine if that specific company isn't it, the characteristics about that company are important. So as you're creating this vision, this passionate vision about what CyR is doing, keep that in mind, that you are able to identify specific characteristics of the company that will align with those who are coming towards you. So one client we had, Scott, came up with, he had 3 different lists. He's an overachiever, but he had 3 different lists because he wasn't sure what industry he wanted to go into. But on each of these lists, he identified the general characteristics of these companies that he was going for. And they were very similar, even though they were in different industries, the things that they offered. And for him, one thing that really grabbed him and the company that hired him, their motto is, we hire to retire you. Mm-hmm. We hire to retire you. That's a line for some people. Some people don't want to work at one company for the rest of their life. Others do. So by having that very clear characteristic of what the company represents, you can help to draw in those people who are attracted to what you're offering. So I just wanted to give that as like a concrete example of characteristics and how you can articulate that.
And find those people, because you don't want it to, ultimately, we don't want what we are attracting in to have people think of us as a 1-year stop or a 2-year stop. We'd like to build leaders. And that's what our conversation is here today, is build leaders and vision and people that are going to grow with the company, as opposed to just see us as a train stop along the way, right?
Let your passion be their passion as well. And you have all of that buy-in and that passion, you're going to see great things from those people.
Yeah, it's fun. They'll want to contribute. And make your job easier. That's what it's all about for our leaders. It's not make our jobs as leaders easier, because we've got team, right? Have you ever been on a tug of war team? Who's been on a tug of war team?
It's been a long time, but I have.
It's been a long time. Okay. So, whenever you're on a tug of war team, you got the anchor man. We don't put the leader as the anchor man. We put the strongest person there, right? And so usually the leader, the one that's the captain, is at the front. And they're the one like making that energy happen. Everybody behind is doing the work. But you're holding the inspiration, the dedication, and that team, cohesiveness. And so we hire to allow them to grow and to become their best selves. And we lead them toward that. But we have to first tell that story and inspire them to want to join. Yep. So who else has a question here for our career professionals call today? Maybe it's something you're stuck with, struggle, want to have some additional insights and things. Maybe you have questions about job market or what you could do to be in the job market if you're not yet, if you haven't tossed your name in the hat to find new roles. Just simply unmute your mic.
I had just kind of a general question. Have we seen a shift in the job market of, I guess, more and more people wanting the freedom and flexibility of, say, the driving with Uber, the DoorDashes, things like that? So kind of as opposed to being tied down to a desk for 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, I guess even being willing to take a pay cut or some opportunity going to some of these other platforms where they can really set their own hours and really kind of feel like they're doing their own thing, as opposed to, working for another company. So working for themselves, in other words, I guess.
Right. There will always be that. I don't know that it's been a big shift. I think people get disgruntled from time to time. There's different seasons of that. We're in what's called the Great Resignation area. And the Great Resignation is a combination right now of possible millennials that are saying, I don't want to be in a career because careers wanting me to have more of a standard 9 to 5 kind of input. Plus, many companies are saying we want you to be hybrid in the office versus remote. And some people are now saying, I only want to work remote. So in order to have their own freedom, they're saying, I want to start my own gig. We also have the Great Resignation of the baby boomers who are now resigning. And there's a huge job market loss of intelligence and wisdom that's going out the door for those people that are retiring, right? 3 people in my block retired in the last 2 months. And so with that makes the current job force, the people that are working, yes, more needed. However, that doesn't mean the employer has to settle for what the employee wants in their work ethic. We get to, again, inspire them to what they become. Because if we allow our employees to dictate how they want to work, we've lost our power as employers and leaders. So with answering that question, It's what do you want to build? What do you want? What's required for performance and the putting the customer first and having the projects happen in the way that Coursera wants to build that quality product, right? And you find those people that are in for that. I mean, I know plenty of people that want the standard hours. Yes, let me do this. And there will be some that need more flexibility based on whatever their lives are currently. Yeah, that doesn't mean the work can't happen, right? So we have somebody on here today. She's a badass. She's a new client. Her name's Allison. And, she's the mom of a new child who's, I think, 5 weeks old this week, right, Allison? She's 5 weeks and she's got 3 other kiddos. Her and her partner have 4 kids, right? They're a young family and they're doing a great job raising, little ones. That doesn't make her any less of a badass to say that, hey, you tell me what you need me to do and how you need me to do it. I'm going to get the job done, right? You tell me what the project is. I'm going to make sure that everybody's happy in this. And I create a raving fan client. So it's not about, at the end of the day, are they looking for flexibility? Do they want to be in charge of their own schedule? It's how do we message to them that the quality and what we produce as a company with our clients, we're building raving fan clients. And in order to do that, we have to go above and beyond. And good and great is no longer good and great. We need to go for extraordinary. And if they become part of that expression of the company and who they are with the team, if you're building an extraordinary team, hey, I want to be part of that. If you're building a mediocre team, I'm going to keep looking, right? So it really comes down to leadership and what you're building and defining and how you bring that message to the table. And even, rock stars like Allison would say, I'm attracted. I want it. Okay, sounds good. Let's do this. And they may also say, I need to be able to come to work at 9:00 and I need to be able to get off at 3 and then I'll work half day on Saturday. I'm going to get the job done. But then, it's who are they? And is that performance being measured as a leader? Are you in there with them, telling them, giving them feedback and growing them to be their best selves? Badasses are among us. Just need to know how to wait for them and hold out. Like I'm grateful, your wife's probably grateful that you dated her, because there's plenty of people to choose from, right? Okay, so it seems as though we have some quiet people that aren't on their mics, but they're listening. So thanks for hanging out. What we want to know, maybe you want to type something in to the chat as a question or a thought. While you're doing that and thinking that way, I also want to say that if you're in the place where you're looking for a position, like I said earlier today, I want to make sure that your job alerts are on and that you're responding to those job alerts. We had somebody last week that had the opportunity for an interview. The interview requirements came through, was going to be a 2 to 3 hour interview cycle and process. Because it was, director level. He passed on that interview. I wanted to shake him because take the interview opportunity. Wherever you get an interview opportunity, even if you're going to say no to the company, go for it. It's great. It is practice, right? But more than that, you're creating connections. You're meeting people. Your network is the only asset you have as a career professional. I'm sorry, it's not what's between your head and your brain cells. It's not. It's your network. Your network and the validity of that, the closeness of that, the cohesiveness of that, the trust of that is going to get you to the higher realms of companies. And if you do not have a network, you might as well be a robot. So whenever you can get interviews, go for it. So I'm get off of my soapbox. Do not pass over really good interviews, for heaven's sakes. Any other questions? Any other connections? Do you need us to connect you to somebody? Do you say, like, this is the industry I really want to be in? I don't know anybody in this industry, but how can you open it up for me? We've got people here and you've got a network of people listening right here, right now. Have some courage. Talk. I'm freezing in this room. I swear to God.
I guess cool. I'm a little curious. I was listening to a conversation earlier about a company called Palantir, I believe, and they're kind of a software company. They do a lot of government engagement, but they're supposedly very far ahead in the whole AI arena. So they've got a lot of things that the public doesn't know about, probably not going to know about for 5 years to come. So just, I guess, kind of a question, maybe in the Houston market anyway, is how do you kind of seek out those companies that are really on the cutting edge? You know, myself having a lot of passion for technology, being able to seek out those types of companies that are really kind of forward thinking and, you know, something that's going to be a foundation, you know, way into the future, as opposed to, you know, a lot of companies who have kind of not made that leap yet.
Sounds great. Well, in the Houston area, I can tell you to reach out to the Houston Technology Center if you're not a member yet. Join the Houston Technology Center. They are rock stars over there. And get to know the people there. Those are the movers and shakers and more innovative companies that are on those cutting edges of development. Yes, in Houston, I know, or, you know, exactly. That's the Innovation Forum. So join them, be part of the conversations, attend the networking meetings. Also, I would say get Coursera Digital in their newsletters because they send out information, and have them do a highlight of your company, right? It's necessary that you guys get PR out there. Might as well. You've won so many awards, right? So get it out there. The other thing is to understand what magazines or periodicals are being published for the areas that you want to see movement in and learn movement in. There are also conferences that you can hook into, and a lot of those are all hybrid now. So you can participate with things digitally. I know that Amazon just had a big conference last week. One of my cousins is very high up in the military. And what's really cool, I guess, you know, if we want to look at the good side of the military, is that military does a lot of innovation for technology, and those things that become common in our household started usually as a military project. So whenever it comes to AI, if you can hook into any organizations or groups here in the Houston area that are, you know, connected to intelligence or the military, they're going to be those forward-thinking, well-funded companies that are advancing the AI in our world, because it's going to be utilized for security first, right? That's how it's going to be funded. That's how everything's funded in our world, by the way, is for security. Anything that, you know, you like, you know, just medicines, technology. The microwave was developed in the military. All these things. I drive a Jeep. It was military. Thank you. I love the Jeep. But that's where innovation happens, because it's heavily funded for security of a nation, right? I just talked to one of my clients this morning, and he is in the HPC arena, high performance computing, which is another place to go to look for those companies that are doing high performance computing technologies, because AI requires a lot of throughput of information. And I sent him a resource, and I don't have it right now. It's over in his notes. But I sent him a resource, and I said, "Do you know about this magazine?" And he said, "No." And I said, I think you need to know, because it's publishing every quarter. It publishes the top innovative technology companies in our world. And so I'll get you that information as well, Chris. And you want to be part of those conversations. We become who we surround ourselves with. And if we want to up our own game, we must put ourselves humbly at the seat of people that are a lot smarter than us. I'd love to be the dumbest person in the room. Yes. Let's do this. Help my brain expand. I'm ready. I know nothing. Fill me up, right? Any other inputs there, Kara and Hannah? For Chris? Cool. So I feel like an auctioneer, going once, going twice. Does anybody else have any inputs, wants, desires, needs? Help me out. Go ahead and either put in the chat or find courage to unmute your mic. And if you're technologically impaired, which I doubt you are, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. But what we do is go over to your mute thing and just simply unmute your mic and ask your question. And then what we do at the end of every single session is that we say, and by the way, I want you to know that this group session is for you, TJ. I see that you've joined us today. If you've ever coached with Bonfire, ever, like we've been around a long time. If you've ever done that, you are invited here. The reason why we do this is because we have built a community of forward thinkers, people that are taking themselves to the next level. And we've also given you strategies on ways to think, ways to live above the line, not do the 5 C's, stay out of the boxes. There's a whole lot of geometrical, ways to describe our thinking. And so we've come to connection here to say, hey, I want to take myself to the next level, and I'm interested in connecting with people just like you. So you get the chance to, if you want to, put your name and number in an email inside the chat. If you say, hey, I want to connect with more people and get to know who you are, I want to learn more about you, just go ahead and put your name and number and email there so everybody can see that you are connectable. And you can even say, hook up with me on LinkedIn, because we get to expand our network. You never know who's here that you need to know, and you may not know how high up they are in different organizations that you say, wow, yes, please, I want you to be part of my network. So do that. And then we also say, what are some takeaways from today's time together that made your time here absolutely worth it? And so I'm not going to call on you guys because there's a lot of quiet people today. I am going to ask Chris to do that, and then Hannah and Kara, because we had our conversation. If you do have any takeaways and you want to unmute your mic, there'll be a time for that. We'd love to hear from you. So Chris, what's a takeaway from today that made your time here absolutely worth it?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you to the whole group. So I always enjoy these. And I think one of the things I like the most is just when the call is over, it's just a lot to reflect on and a lot to think through. And I know yesterday we had our session, and pretty much for the whole day and into the evening, my mind was racing, thinking about, a million different things. And I was actually with a friend last night. He looked at me and said, what's wrong with you? Like, you're not engaging with me. And it's because I was still thinking through things that we talked about.
Blame me.
Yeah, I think that's just what I appreciate, is just really getting the fires burning and thinking about a lot of different positive things and good positive energy. So
awesome. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for contributing today. It's always great. You brought some great topics and ways to advance yourself. And I know other people took things away from our conversation too. Hannah and then Kara.
I actually want to thank Chris, because it is important for I'll call it the owner side, right? For the hiring side to have a voice and also to be supported. We focus a lot on coaching career professionals who are in the industry and looking for a new job. And so your perspective, Chris, is just so valuable. So my takeaway is just, I love having you on and sharing, what your struggles from the owner side, from the hiring side, because it's important for us all to understand all perspectives, right?
Completely. Yeah. Thanks, Hannah. Kara, takeaway for you today.
I feel like I'm piggybacking on everything Hannah has said today, but it is nice to have that perspective and hear questions from the leadership perspective or an owner perspective. So we see how the tools that we use from this side can apply to that side as well, and gives us more of an opportunity to share that whole picture with our clients. So it's nice to have that perspective and to hear from other people as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, my takeaway is that I always love allowing the bonfire to have this forum to connect. And we do encourage all of us to find a way to expand our network and expand the connections to people that are of higher mind, that are thinking outside the boxes and understanding that we must bring our best self forward. Just recorded a podcast this morning on self-care and the importance of self-care and putting ourselves first so that our energy is up, because whenever our energy is great, then the universe can avail us with amazing opportunities and additional resources. And whenever our energy is either neutral or low, those doors shut, because there is a protective mechanism always looking out for us. Thank you so much for your time here today. This recording will be posted out there on the Bonfire Inner Circle. And if you're not yet hooked into the Bonfire Inner Circle, it's on Facebook. Just find us there and a request to join. This is your group on Facebook to also share your wins, share your needs, and have your conversations there. If you do not have access and you want some more help we have a great resource here at Bonfire called Ryan, and Ryan is so good. So you would simply call our offices at 713-332-3858. I'll put that in the chat, and reach out, because we are your coaching firm. We're here for you always, and we want to help you succeed and feel fulfillment. Have a beautiful rest of your week. It was a short week, and I hope you have some really great plans for the weekend. Take care, and thank you so much for being here and being part of the Bonfire. Have a great day. Bye-bye.